Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of PDF Pen for Mac, PDF Pen Pro for Mac, PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander for Mac, Text Expander for iPhone and iPad, and Disk Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. And by Take Control Books, the answers you need now from leading experts. Learn more and download yours at takecontrolbooks.com. Welcome to the Mac Jury on Mac Voices. This is the Talk of the Mac community. I'm Chuck Joyner. Folks, it's the holiday season, or at least the holiday season is about to be upon us, and we're trying to respect the time frames, but also respect the idea that there are a lot of people that are trying to get your attention on what to buy this holiday season. So this is the first of our series of holiday gift guide shows, where we invite some of our friends in and get them to tell us what they would like to get, what they are going to be giving, or what they just lust after, whatever the case may be. The rules are pretty simple, and of course, since this is the first Mac Jury gift guide, it means that nobody here has to skip over any picks as long as they don't step on their own. Subsequent Mac Juries will have to respect the lists of previous Mac Juries and get more creative. And we've had some really creative stuff, folks, over the years, let me tell you. So with that, let's find out who we get to hear from this time. First up, and I'm going from left to right on my screen, Mr. David Ginsburg. David, great to have you. Thanks for being here.
Oh, thanks for having me, Chuck. Did you want me to tell people about who I am?
Absolutely.
Right.
Because this is your first time on
my very first time on your show. I'm thrilled to be here, and I am the president of the Suburban Chicago Apple Users Group, which we've just renamed our group not too long ago here. We used to be called the Northwest of Us. So I lead up a group of a lot of folks that are very into Apple products and a lot of other fun stuff. So we have a lot of fun, and I also lead a great group of people that we learn about the iPhone, and I talk a lot about iPhone and iOS stuff, as well as I spoke earlier this year at MacStock, and with you and I met in person for the first time, I was really thrilled about that whole thing, and I am an IT professional by trade, so I have a lot of knowledge in technology too.
That's perfect. It's great to have you for your first time here.
I appreciate it.
Next up, Mr. Joe Kissell. Joe, great to have you back as always. Happy holidays.
Happy holidays to you. Nice to be here. For anyone who has never seen one of Chuck's podcasts before, I write books by the dozen about Mac stuff for both Take Control Books and joeontech.net. And I've also written quite a bit for Macworld and Tidbits and so on.
Joe, is the headcock trademarked yet?
It's trademarked, yes. I'm sorry. No one else can ever use that.
Okay. just wanted to be sure. And last but not least, everybody's favorite Santa, Mr. Peter Cohen.
Hi there. How you doing?
I'm good, Peter. Good to have you.
Thank you very much. So I'm a freelance tech journalist. I have written for iMore, imore.com I was at for a couple of years. Macworld, The Loop, Tom's Guide, Mac Format, Mac Life. Basically, if it has Mac in the name, chances are I've written for it at some point or another.
And I think you just added the Mac Observer to your list this time.
Yeah, finally got around to scratching that one off my bucket list. So I'm writing for the Mac Observer now, too.
That's great. Well, so in other words, anywhere we look, we see Peter.
That's my plan. In the bushes outside your house, Chuck.
I'm glad I have the Ring doorbell, Peter, to watch. Oh, all right, guys. So let's just get to it. Again, what are the things you're interested in? What are you looking for? What are you lusting after? And we'll kind of keep the same order if that's okay, at least for the first round, and then we'll mix it up a little bit. David, you get the very first pick this year.
Wow, that's exciting. My first pick was a battery. It's actually an external battery that's used to charge any device. It's got USB plug to it. It's a 20,000 milliamp battery made by Anker. This is actually it, as I have it, and it's a pretty good size but heavy battery. But it does charge things pretty quickly. You can get about 6 to 10 charges of your iPhone before it has to be recharged. And I found it to be very valuable. And also, you can hook up iPads, any device that goes with different voltages, it'll actually adjust accordingly. It's got a special IQ that senses what type of device it is, and then real quick way of being able to charge the device. I don't know if you were going to show it on the screen or if you wanted me to show it again, but I found this to be a pretty handy device.
So you're going with a very practical pick, your first one out.
That's it there again.
That's great. That's great. Okay,
yeah, very practical. And it comes with a pouch, comes with a USB cable to charge it. Very simple. And it costs around $40.
So Joe, you get pick number 2. Are you going to go practical or extravagant?
Oh, I'm going to go very practical this time. This is a stocking stuffer. My pick is Sugru. So Sugru, this is an odd substance. They call it moldable glue. It's this sort of putty that you can fix or create almost anything with. It is kind of magical. You can buy it in packs of 3 or 8 or however many different portions you need. It comes in these tiny little packets like this. It comes in 10 different colors. So you rip open a packet of your chosen color, and you just sort of knead it a little bit, and then you can form it into whatever shape you need. You can use it to repair things, to build things. I used a whole bunch of Sugru to repair my dishwasher rack. So like it is kind of an old machine, and some of the bottom rack had gotten rusty, and like where the plastic coated tines are sticking up, and they were in danger of falling off. So I just wrapped a whole bunch of Sugru around this, and when it dries, it's waterproof, it's heat proof. It's really great for like repairing frayed ends of charger cables or whatever. And I've even seen people take like ordinary Apple earbuds or whatever kind of earbud, and then like stick it in your ear and then mold Sugru around it to have like a custom molded ear thing that is exactly the shape of your ear. The number of things you can do with this is really just astonishing. So for any repairs or any little home DIY projects, Sugru is a really cool thing to have, and just about anyone would appreciate having it in their stocking, as long as, of course, it's still wrapped up. They don't want to have to like dig hardened Sugru out of their stocking. That would be kind of gross.
That's interesting. And I saw Peter shake his head. Peter, are you familiar with this?
I am indeed familiar with Sugru. Sugru is really cool. I think Aaron Fothergill introduced me to it. He's a developer in the UK. One of the guys behind Strange Flavor, they're a game developer for iOS. They go way back. They created Toy Sight for the Macintosh way back in the day, an iSight game that was really cool. But anyway, the Sugru is fantastic when it comes to repairing, as Joe just said, the frayed ends of your power cable. Now, to go out and buy a new AC adapter for your MacBook Pro or your MacBook Air, that's going to set you back about $80, $90 if you walk into an Apple store or an Apple authorized reseller and buy one there. But Sugru is a fraction of the price, and it'll fix the cable right up, and even give you a little bit of reinforcement. So Joe just made me very happy by mentioning that.
I like it.
Awesome.
Definitely, how you guys. So one thing about these shows, they always cost me money along with everybody else. Joe, you mentioned putting it in the dishwasher, so I assume that once it hardens, it's not toxic. I mean, it's safe too.
Yeah, no, it's like everything proof. Trying to see. So temperature resistant up to 356 degrees Fahrenheit and down to minus 58. Dishwasher proof, saltwater proof, and electrically insulating. So.
That last one's important if you're going to repair charger cables. So.
It's a floor wax and a dessert topping. Yeah, slices it, dices it, juliennes.
and you get a set of Ginsu knives with it, right?
That's right.
All right. Well, good pick, Joe. Good pick. Peter, how about your first round?
Well, we're going to go from, a practical stocking stuffer to something that's completely impractical but really fun. Sphero has probably the best license for Star Wars: The Force Awakens. They have Sphero, if you're not familiar with them, make a very cool little remote control toy called the Sphero, and it is a sphere shaped a remote control toy that you use your iPad or your iPhone to play games with. And you can just chase it around the room if you want to, or you can download games that are designed to support the Sphero API and put your Sphero up against a crowd of virtual zombies, or whatever. There are different games that you can download. Anyway, back to The Force Awakens. This, of course, is going to be the huge tentpole blockbuster movie that's coming out December 18th, the new Star Wars film. Every nerd worth their salt is looking forward to this movie with bated breath. And Sphero has the BB-8 droid remote. It is such a cool little thing. It's based on Sphero's core technology, but it is the BB-8 sphere-shaped droid that we've seen in the movie trailers since the very first teaser trailer. And what makes it even cooler is that, yes, it actually has a head that stays on top, stays in place, even while Sphero is moving around and moves about of its own volition. So they have just done a marvelous job making their remote control toy very Star Warsy. It's a lot of fun, and everybody who I know who's gotten one so far has been thrilled with it.
Very nice, Peter. Very nice. I saw this and then I kind of forgot about it, and I've looked into the technology. It looks really intriguing, and then it just kind of slipped out of my mind. So, very nice. One of the challenges, folks, with the gift juries is that I participate, and so that means that every show I have to come up with 4 new ones. So the first one I'm going to trot out is one that I recommend every year. It's kind of like that sweater that gets passed around, but it's still a good one. It's still an important one, and that is that around this time of year you can get some great discounts on Apple gift cards, on iTunes gift cards. And this means that you can stack these things up, and you have an automatic, depending on what you buy them for, 20 to 25% discount on every and any app in the App Store, in the Mac App Store, on music, on some movies, on books. Any place you can apply an iTunes credit, you can use this. So that means 20% off Final Cut Pro. It means 20% off Logic Pro. It means 20% off, a 99-cent game. It means 20%, 25% off of everything. You can buy these things. I usually stack them up, and frankly, I usually have a couple $100 just sitting in iTunes waiting for me, because that way, if I want to check out something, I'm automatically getting a discount, and no matter what the price. It doesn't cost the developers anything. I'm not quite sure who's getting shortchanged here. It's probably the retailers, but that's their problem, because you're paying it out in full Apple Store credit. So you got to watch for these deals. I'd love to put a link in the show notes to tell you where they are, but you just have to watch for them on Deal News or on Twitter. I know I try to put them in my Twitter feed anytime I see something, but check this out. Watch for this. This should be one of your number ones. And if not for somebody else, for you. So Apple gift cards discounted. Okay, that's round one. Joe, you cost me money round one, and right. Peter may be a close second. I'm not sure. So let's break it up this time a little bit. Joe, how about if you go first in the second round?
All right. I'm going to continue with my trend of stocking stuffers, and all right. So I just have to tell you a little story. I have certain life principles that I abide by. Like I have a life principle that I do not own any white clothing. So I am like the opposite of the Guilty Remnant on The Leftovers, if anybody watches that show. I also don't smoke. So I made a decision a lot of years ago that I just didn't like having to keep my white clothes separate and wash them differently. I want everything to be machine wash, warm, tumble dry. So that's one of my things. Another one of my things, life principles that has to do with clothing, is I don't do shoelaces. Now, I got young kids, and my kids have shoes with Velcro on them. Velcro used to be cool for adults. It's not cool for adults anymore until you get to a certain age that's older than I am now. But nevertheless, I don't like lacing shoes. I don't like having my shoes come untied and have to, trip over the laces. I don't like having to untie and retie shoes at airport security checkpoints. So when I have, sneakers or, some other type of shoe that requires laces, I get a pair of these elastic laces. You lace them up, you lock them in place, and then you just sort of stretch out the tongue a little bit, slip your foot in, and they snap back into place. Now, there are a number of brands. This particular one is called Lock Laces, but they're all basically the same. You take out the regular laces, you pop these in, there's a little plastic thing that slides down to lock it in place, and you're done. Your ordinary sneakers or whatever have magically become slip-on, and I just find this so much more convenient. It saves me, a minute or two every day putting on and taking off shoes, and over time that adds up. So end, shoelace agony, whatever, by equipping each pair of your laced shoes with elastic shoelaces. And again, like Sugru, comes in every imaginable color, lots of different brands, and makes a great stocking stuffer. Also dirt cheap.
Joe, I knew you were a geek from head to toe, but this just takes it to a whole new level. And it also means that from now on, every time you're on the show, we're going to have to look at your shoes just to see what.
Well, the shoes I'm wearing right now don't count because they don't have laces in the first place. But they, they are slip-on, so it's
okay. Okay, we will examine more of your life principles in a future show, because
absolutely that could be a whole series of shows.
Yeah, I hear a new Joe on Tech book coming right now.
Could be.
Yeah. Could be. Peter, how about if you go second round?
Okay, my pick is for that person who has an Apple Watch. Apple, of course, has a new standout, and I'm sure somebody's going to pick that. I'm not, but Apple, with the 2.0 version of the watch, they introduced this idea of Nightstand Mode. The idea that when you lay the watch on its side, as most of us do while we're charging it, set it on your nightstand or your end table next to your bed or whatever. The screen will reorient itself into that horizontal mode, and it'll show you the time, it'll show you the date, it'll show you upcoming events, and it'll also show you the charging status of the watch. It's a really nice thing, but the problem is that you've got this white cable just kind of hanging out on your end table or your nightstand most of the time, and it looks really ugly. Well, a lot of companies have come out with stands that are designed to support Nightstand Mode. Apple is arguably the most recent. At least as of the recording of this show. They just introduced this week a new, I think it's like an $80 or $100 charging stand that you can buy that looks Apple-y. Okay, great, whatever. But it's a lot of money. So there is a company out there called 10 Design. You'll find their website at 10design, the number 10design.us. I love their stuff. I use their watchtower when I first got my Apple Watch, and now I'm using their watch rest, and I love it because it's CNC machined from aluminum billets. So it's a solid piece of aluminum that this thing is crafted of, and it crafted from it, and it feels it. It's weighted. You put it on your nightstand or your end table, and it stays in place. And it works beautifully with the magnetic charging cable that Apple provides. It has a little insert to make sure that you get the fit nice and snug. But the insert holds the charging magnet with just enough force that you can still remove it just by pushing your thumb through. So if you go on the road for the weekend and you need to take your charging cable with you because you don't have a spare, it's not really that big a deal to get it out and remove it, and as it is in some of these stands. It's a really nice piece of work. It comes in two different colors. It comes in silver, and it also comes in a darker color to match I've got the space gray version, and it just looks beautiful with it. So that's my pick.
Very nice. Very nice. Yeah, there's so many Apple Watch stands out there of all kind of descriptions. And so I have an idea we'll be seeing a lot of those on the gift guide this year, because some people think that it's important to have them in like rare teak wood, and other people don't care. So who knows?
Yeah, well, I'm the first, so I don't care.
Yeah. David, round two.
All right. I think I'm in better shape here. My next pick was the Amazon Echo. Does anybody here have the Amazon Echo?
Yep.
It is a really neat device, and actually it looks like Oprah Winfrey has added as her favorite thing, so I guess they're going to be selling a few more of these. What I find to be handy is being able to just basically ask it anything. I don't want to say its name because it's going to go off here by me and actually start talking and telling me things. But you could do things like ask for information about anything from weather, music, anything you really wanted to do. It also plays podcasts. I think you're actually listed on TuneIn Radio, so you actually can link your TuneIn Radio and your iHeartRadio and all your other different types of media onto this device, and you can actually talk to it. It'll actually play it. Speakers are just phenomenal. The sound is just incredible. And one of the neatest things about this thing is it's not going to go out of date because they're always updating it and adding content to it. So it's a really nice device. It'll give you weather, traffic, sports. I mean, you name it, it does it. Relates to doing that, and it's not a bad price. I mean, I'm sure Amazon's going to put some discounts on it when we get to Black Friday next week. But I found it to be a pretty neat device, and I think it was a nice choice I picked.
David, are you an Amazon Prime Music member?
I am.
Okay.
Because that works with it too.
Yeah, I've been surprised because I am not. I'm an Amazon Prime member, but not music. But I've still been very, very impressed by just the idea that I can walk in the house and say, hey, well, I'm not going to do it because I'll trigger mine.
Right.
Play artist X and streaming artist X from Amazon Prime Music. Which is a limited subset of obviously what you can get. But it seems like there are at least a few songs from most artists that you would name. And so I can at least get a quick hit of it if I don't want to bother to fire up Siri and all of that. I find the weather part great. I'm hoping that they will add some triggers for some of the HomeKit stuff, or at least some home automation. But yeah, I think it's very least it's a fun toy, and I think it's more than that.
Yeah, no, and you manage it from your iPhone or your Android device, whatever you happen to have. They have an app for pretty much every device out there, and you can go in and make the changes and set your accounts up. Audible's on there, Pandora's on there, as well as the Prime Music. So I mean, there's got a lot of good content that started off. I mean, you actually got a shopping list, and that kind of scares me. I didn't turn that on because I'll start saying, "Buy me this," and all of a sudden it'll show up. So that's what kind of scares me. But no, I thought it was a neat device and a nice, little expensive, but a little bit of a stocking stuffer people might like.
Big stocking.
A big stocking.
Big stocking. I'm going to take kind of low-hanging fruit for my second round pick, and that's the new Apple TV. I'm really liking it. I'm loving the Siri remote. I like the interface. I'm still exploring apps. I think, in my opinion, it's early days for Apple TV apps, so I think we're going to see this do nothing but get better. If you have an interest in cord cutting, if you have an interest in just better access to the video services that you like, or if you have something that you can dedicate a Plex server to, better access to the media you own, this to me is just a no-brainer. It's not that expensive in the grand scheme of things, and it's a great upgrade. And of course, if you're invested in the Apple ecosystem like we all are, that just makes it that much more appealing. I know some people are not happy just yet with how little it does with Apple Music, but I think that'll come, and that's going to come quick. And of course, we're waiting to see what Apple will do with HomeKit for it. So it may be one of those things where you're buying a little ahead of the curve, but I just can't see how you're going to be unhappy with it, you or anyone else. So the Apple TV, and of course, you can't get that on Amazon because of the little kerfuffle with that between Apple and Amazon. So you're going to have to go to the Apple site or Best Buy or some of the others. Today's edition of Mac Voices is sponsored by Smile, the makers of PDF Pen for Mac, PDF Pen Pro for Mac, PDF Pen for iPhone and iPad, PDF Pen Scan Plus for iPhone and iPad, Text Expander for Mac, Text Expander for iPhone and iPad, and Disk Label. Find out more about all their great products at smilesoftware.com. With the arrival of iPad Pro, the long-running discussion of the iPad as laptop replacement has been rekindled, with all sorts of new fuel on the fire. I'll leave at least part of that discussion for another time, but what I do want to point out to you is that no matter what Apple platform you decide to use, Smile has you covered with versions of their killer apps for both. Text Expander is a must-have app that lets you create snippets of text that expand into anything you like. Corrected or specified words with the correct capitalization, paragraphs of boilerplate text, HTML code, and much more. Text Expander can take text from your clipboard and manipulate it, changing case, changing format, and a lot more. Or you can trigger OS X automation if you need to. Create forms for others to fill out. The list goes on. And Text Expander for iPhone and iPad bring that functionality to your iOS devices and now to the iPad Pro, so you can keep the productivity train rolling. Better still, by using Dropbox or iCloud, all of your snippets created on one platform are automatically synced with the other. No recreating, copying, or other maintenance necessary. Just clean, simple, smooth productivity. The way you like it. The way it should be. The Smile way. Why not find out just how much time and effort Text Expander can save you by downloading a free trial at smilesoftware.com. Take it for a spin and discover the power tool that so many of us have been benefiting from for years. PDF Pen and PDF Pen Pro are also available for both the Mac and iOS platforms, but that's a story for another time. For now, visit smilesoftware.com, try out Text Expander for free, and tell them you heard about it on MacVoices. Oh, and while you're there, take a few minutes to check out the spiffy new Smile website. You're seeing some of it here, but there's a lot more to explore. That's smilesoftware.com for some of the best productivity apps for Macs, iPhones, and iPads of all shapes and sizes. Thanks to Smile for being the longest-running sponsor of MacVoices. Okay, guys, that's 2 rounds. That's 8 gifts. So now we get to do round 3. And Peter, how about if I start with you on round 3?
Oh, thank you very much, Chuck. Okay, I've got another item here that we're going to go from digital to analog now. The Orbit Turntable from U-Turn Audio, uturnaudio.com. The Orbit is a really beautifully crafted turntable. If you or someone in your life has or have a collection of vinyl records, and we know that vinyl is becoming or is in vogue again. But if you've got an archive of old vinyl albums from back in the day and you'd like to listen to them on your stereo system, this is a purely analog device. There is no USB interface. There is no app that you can download for it. But it is a wonderfully crafted piece of hardware here to add to your stereo. The Orbit turntable, the basic turntable, comes with an Audio-Technica cartridge pre-installed, vibration dampening feet, and a manual belt drive. It is designed to sound beautiful. It features RCA cables, so you would just plug it in using old-fashioned RCA cables to your stereo. And it does come in a variety of different colors if you want to match the decor in your house. Really lovely piece of equipment that I became familiar with, I think, through a crowdfunding program. I can't remember the origins of it, but it's now available for sale via their website, and just really a cool looking piece of kit. It is a little bit on the pricey side. It's $180, $179, excuse me. But you get everything that you need to hook it up. It's got a 35 and 45 RPM pulley on it, so you can listen to singles if you've got any. And just a great piece of hardware that back in the day, something that was made like this probably would have cost a lot more than it does now. So as far as I'm concerned, it's a good value.
Peter, are you a vinyl aficionado?
Yeah, I love vinyl.
Really?
Yes.
I'm surprised. I don't know why.
Well, I've been listening to music since I was a kid, Chuck, and my wife and I have amassed quite a collection of analog and digital music, and I've kept every single CD I've ever purchased. I've ripped this stuff to MP3 and later to AAC over the years, but I've kept all that stuff. But the vinyl for me has a very different sound to it. It's a lot richer. It's a lot fuller. It seems less processed somehow and more real, and I just love it. Now, I don't pretend to be an audiophile by any stretch of the imagination. I don't have a huge collection, but what I listen to, I do like.
Interesting. Okay. Joe, round 3.
Well, I've mentioned a couple of things that are stocking stuffers and come in multiple colors. So let's go 3 for 3. I have here stocking stuffers that come in multiple colors. So these are pens, come in 10 or so different colors and lots of different styles. These here are clickers, but they come in different shapes and sizes and styles. This is a Pilot Frixion Pen. So this is a relatively new type of erasable ink pen. Now, erasable ballpoint pens were like all the rage back when I was in high school. Everybody thought that was so cool. They gradually fell out of favor because they were like really smudgy. But this is a totally new kind of ink. So they're gel pens, and you write with them like any ballpoint. But the eraser part is kind of different. So what's cool about this ink is that it turns invisible when you expose it to heat over 140 degrees. So if you wrote a page of notes or an entire notebook full of stuff with a Frixion pen, and you, popped it in the microwave or left it in a hot car or something, it would vanish. So that is one way to erase stuff if you want to. Or you can use this little rubber tip. It's not really an eraser in that it doesn't like flake off. It's just sort of actually kind of a hard plastic. And you rub this over something you've written, and the friction, hence the name, generates heat that turns the stuff invisible. So I of course have a purple Frixion pen, which I carry around. So I can write in purple ink, as I prefer to do, but I can also erase anything. And unless I use this special eraser or the page is exposed to relatively high heat, the writing is permanent. So again, comes in lots of sizes, shapes, colors, and for anyone who writes on paper, at least occasionally, this is a great gift. I wouldn't use these for signing checks. You wouldn't want for somebody to be able to turn your signature invisible in, contracts, things like that. But for, day-to-day stuff, I think it's really cool. And again, like my other couple of picks, dirt cheap.
Okay, I got to explore this a little, Joe. First of all, there are some contracts that I wouldn't mind signing with that kind of thing. So when it turns invisible forever? It's gone?
Yeah, it's gone. I mean, if you look at it really carefully, you can see like where, you can see where it was.
Right.
But because you're when you press down on paper, you're always making a little bit of an indentation. But the ink itself is just transparent.
And is there a period after which that the heat does not affect it, or is it just it's always that way?
Not that I'm aware of. I actually first learned about this pen because there was some sort of like Kickstarter or Indiegogo notebook that came with a pen. I don't know, I've lost track of what that project was, but it came with one of these pens, and one of the selling points was, and it's reusable. You just stick this in the microwave for a few seconds, and you've erased the page. So I didn't really find the notebook to be useful or interesting, but a pen that the ink doesn't smudge when you just rub on it, but it can be erased, I do find that useful.
Interesting. Would it? Do you know if it would turn invisible just if your page happened to be sitting in sunlight?
I mean, whenever the temperature gets over 140, however that may occur, it will. So here, like I had on on the desk right here next to me, I had some notes like just scribbled on a Post-it with this ink. And one day I brought in my lunch on a hot plate. I'm like, oh, there's no, well, I'll just put it down on top of the Post-it. And I picked up the plate later. I was like, wait a minute. I know I wrote something down, and it was, you know, the heat of lunch on the plate had erased my notes. And I was still able to, like, you know, hold it up like closely and look at it and figure out what it said. But anyway, whatever the heat source, it erases it.
Interesting. A conversation starter at the very least.
Yeah.
Good.
It's like the opposite of, like, you know, spies write in invisible ink and then they apply heat to make it visible, but this is the opposite of that. You apply heat to make it invisible. So.
And it never comes back. All right. David, I think you're up for round 3.
All right. Well, I have this microphone that I found that I use with my iPhone. It's a lapel mic. It's made by a company called Movo, M-O-V-O. It's a Deluxe Lavalier mic it's omnidirectional and clips right onto your shirt. You plug it right into your iPhone and provides amazing recording sound with the mic. And I was trying to record some videos for work, and I was finding that the microphone on the iPhone was just not cutting it. And we would record it, and a lot of times people don't speak loud enough. And you know, when you're normally recording on a whim, you're using your iPhone. You want it to make sure that the sound comes through. In most cases, it does, but in this situation, it didn't. So I found this mic, and it's very inexpensive. It's like $25. Plugs right in. It's got a pretty long cable on it. It's got the wind muff and the lapel clip, and it comes in 2 styles. It comes in a single-headed or a dual-headed. So if you had 2 people you were talking to at once, you can plug into your iPhone and be able to have 2 mics hooked up at the same time and with one connection, and it gives a great sound. And if someone was looking for something like this to do some good quality audio recordings or video for that matter, this works. And it works with iPhone, iPad, iPod Touch, as well as any Android phones. So I thought it was a pretty practical microphone.
Yeah, as all of us are shooting more video, and with our iPhones, I think some kind of good mic solution is really important. And a lav is you know, it's very personal, but I love the idea that I could hook up 2 of these to one iPhone. So.
Yeah, and then I bought the extra 20-foot extension cable, which gave me even more length. I can be even further away from the subject if I need to be. And that's a cable that Movo makes, and you just plug it in, and it allows you to do 2 interviews at once. It might be something handy you do.
Yeah, very cool.
Yeah.
Okay, for round 4, I'm going to go with something that doesn't seem to be terribly popular in the U.S., but it's a bit of a whim. I'm trying it out now, but I really like it so far. And that is the Garmin Dashcam 10. I do a fair amount of driving, and it seems to me that people are getting crazier and crazier on the roads. And so call this a bit of self-defense, but if I make a mistake, fine. But if somebody else makes a mistake, I would like to have it documented. The Garmin Dashcam 10, there are a couple good ones out there that are significantly cheaper. This is about $170. The trouble is, though, with those, they're all made very cheaply in China, and some do good recording, some don't. The menu systems on some are questionable. The documentation is very questionable, and the service is non-existent. With Garmin, I know that I'm getting a known name. They're well known for mobile technology of all kinds. You can get a higher level with a few more features. This is the very basic level, but really all I want to do is stick it on my windshield and have it start and stop when the car starts and stops, and just record what I'm doing. It does a continuous loop, so as long as I'm driving, it's recording, and then when it gets to the end of the card capacity, it'll start over. Unless there's an accident or there's something, and then there's a way for me to just hit a button, and it will then save at least some of the recording for me until I can go and recover it. You can take the card out, obviously, and read it in your Mac, and save the video. The video really is gorgeous. The nighttime video is gorgeous. It's about, I would guess, 170, 180 degree field of view. out of your windshield. So it's going to capture pretty much anything that's happening in front of you and largely to the side. And in fact, I almost got nailed last night and went back and looked at the video, and it's like, okay, that clearly showed that idiot in the pickup truck would have been at fault if I hadn't been able to avoid it. So I don't know, maybe it's just me, but with the impending self-driving cars and all, this just makes me warm and fuzzy or something. I don't know why, but something to think about. So that's the Garmin Dashcam 10, and you can find it on Amazon. So that's 3 rounds, which means 3 times 4 is 12 picks. So we've got one more round to go. David, I'll let you lead off the last round. We started the rounds with you. We'll end the round with you, your first picks.
Great. My last pick is a hard drive, external drive that I found to be very practical. It's made by Western Digital. It's called the My Passport Wireless Portable External Hard Drive. It's a USB 3.0, but the great thing about it is it's an actual wireless device as well. So it comes in handy, especially for like photographers who want to be able to do a quick on the go transfer of their photos, because it does have an SD card slot in it as well, so they can just put the card in there and be able to transfer their photos right onto this device. It's like it's like an external hard drive. Comes in 2 sizes, 1 terabyte or 2 terabytes, and I probably lean more towards I bought the 2 terabyte, which was only about $30 more. So. And wirelessly, it can have up to 8 devices connect to it at a time, which I find pretty practical. So now people can all connect to it at once if you want to, and be able to store your files wirelessly. And it does allow you also to be able to play videos from this drive, and it gives about 6 hours worth of video streaming by using this device whenever there's no internet connection needed, because it's its own network. So if you wanted to travel, that's another good thing that this can do. It allows you to be able to watch videos, like say on the plane, and not have to take up all your storage on your iPad or your iPhone or wherever you wanted to watch the device. Watch your movies. It's a little pricey. It goes up. The 2 terabyte version is around $196. If you didn't want to spend too much, you could drop $40 more. It's about $152. But I think the nicest thing about it is the fact that you can stream videos and not have to take up all your storage on your mobile devices.
So this sets up its own network. Do I have to make a choice between this and my other Wi-Fi, or how?
No, and what it does is it actually bridges it. So if you do have your internet connection with this device, you can still surf the internet with it as well as bridge it with this network. So then you'll have access to both, which is nice.
And do you find it the connection fast enough to watch movies off of the drive on it?
Yeah. I watched a 2-hour movie on it when I was on a plane one time using it, and it didn't drop out at all, and because it was its own little wireless network. Yep.
Very nice. May have to check that out.
Yeah.
Okay. Peter, round 4. What do you have for us?
Okay, so the last 3 items that I've talked to you about have been pretty big ticket items. They've all been well over $100. Well, no, that's not true. The watch rest is only $39. So big, small. I'm going to end. The point is, I'm going to end on a small note. Whiskey Stones, more specifically Chillin' Cubes from Kangaroo Manufacturing. You can get them on Amazon for about $12. They are soapstone cubes that are milled. Or they're cubes that are milled out of soapstone. You stick these in the freezer, and if you've got a whiskey fan in your life, I love bourbon, for example, somebody who likes it cold but doesn't like it watered down, and ice of course melts and will change the flavor and the profile of your liquor a great deal. Whiskey Stones have become a very popular alternative in the last few years. Now, soapstone is great. It's non-porous, so it doesn't absorb the flavors of the alcohol that it's swimming in, and it stays colder longer than ice does, so it helps to chill your drink without diluting it. And the Chillin' Cubes, affordable. They come in a nice velvet black bag that makes for a nice gift. That's my 4th choice.
And of course, you're going to want to include a bottle of whiskey with them. Right.
I think a bottle of Lagavulin 16 maybe, or a nice bottle of Four Roses even would be great for whomever you're buying this year.
You want to make it a complete kit.
Yes, right.
Right, exactly. I mean, and maybe a set of tumblers too.
Sure.
Okay, so not being a bourbon or whiskey drinker necessarily of any note, what these stones would cost about $12. What would one of the whiskeys that you just mentioned go for?
Oh, well, that's above my pay grade and below my sense of wonder, in the words of Harvey Bullock from Gotham.
All right, we'll leave it at that. Although, Joe, it sounds like you may have an opinion on this.
The more you drink, the less you care about the quality. So, so I've heard.
That explains Thunderbird, Mad Dog 2020, and Brass Monkey.
Okay.
There's a lot of experience running around the table here, folks. Joe, what's round 4 pick? Is it going to be alcoholic or not?
No. So I'm now going to break with my trend of multicolored stocking stuffers. We've now gone into the sort of the food items, and of course the holidays are a great time to show your loved one how much you care with, some chocolates or some alcohol or something really decadent. If your loved one has some dietary restrictions and they're not able to consume the things that are really decadent, you can get them something that they might really appreciate, even though it's in fact incredibly bland. I'm holding in my hands a package of shirataki noodles. Shirataki noodles. Now these are noodles. They have no carbs, no calories, no gluten, also no taste, but they are noodles. They are made from a type of yam and they have this really weird process for extruding them in hydrated lime. The substance is called glucomannan, a water-soluble dietary fiber. So if you know somebody who is on a low carb or no carb, almost no carb diet, or really needs to cut calories, or really can't have gluten, but still really wants the texture of noodles, you can get them some of these. They come both packaged in water like this or dry. This is easier to find. They're expensive. You can find them in some supermarkets or in a higher end place like Whole Foods. I get these by mail. They're expensive to ship because of the water. But if you know where to shop, and I do, you can get a pretty decent rate. And what's nice about them is that I can have noodle dishes with all the that texture I like, add whatever sauce or toppings or whatever you like, but without the carbs. And I just think that's kind of cool. So shirataki noodles.
Plus, you're getting some nice dietary fiber in the process.
There is fiber,
right?
Exactly. There's fiber, but no calories and no carbs.
I got to order myself some shirataki. That's awesome.
Yeah, and Joe, do these come like other pastas in different shapes and sizes and thicknesses and all?
They do. I've even seen them in various permutations in the occasional restaurant. Most of what you'll find is this. They have a consistency that's sort of similar to rice noodles, and this is sort of vermicelli kind of size and shape. This is sort of the most common way you'll find it, just extruded like spaghetti. You can find flat varieties, and you're not going to find farfalle and the like Italian shapes, but you can find some variety, and it's a little odd, but I think it's pretty cool.
Yeah. For your holiday dinner, folks, replace mashed potatoes with these.
Yeah, it's not going to replace turkey and stuffing and whatever, but it's something.
Yeah, that's interesting, and I guess I shouldn't be surprised with because we've had some foodie discussions on MacVoices, so you would be the guy that would know. Where did you discover these, Joe? Was this when you were in Europe, or
no? It's actually just a couple of years ago, and I don't even remember. I can't recall, but I heard about them online someplace, and I'm like, that's impossible. You can't have noodles with no carbs. That doesn't even make any sense. But I started looking it up, and wow, how about that? You really can. It's pretty cool. So I'm like, well, I got to try these. So I just found a source online, and I said, send me. And they come in different. There's like some with extra fiber added, and some that are have like tofu in them, so they have a little bit of carbs, but they're a different texture. You can get different varieties. And I just ordered an assortment. I'm like, wow, this is actually, it's quite edible. It's not, it's not spaghetti, but it's edible. So I just for the sheer oddity of it, I thought this is something I had to investigate. And so now, even though I'm trying to cut carbs, I'm able to eat noodles without any guilt. And I like not having guilt.
Yes. You've got guilt over so many other things, right?
Well, yeah.
Don't eat it every day.
Joe, I've got a question.
Yeah.
I know from what I've read that shirataki, the process for making it involves fermentation somehow. So is there like a distinct odor or flavor to these that you get that you've noticed?
Yes. So if you get them water packed like these, when you first cut open the package to drain it, the odor has been described as sort of fishy, and that's not quite right, but it is an odd odor. So you definitely want to rinse them first before you do whatever with them, cook them, or add them to a salad or whatever you're going to do with them. I mean, I've gotten used to it. But if you're not expecting it, if you're just expecting it to be like, noodles and water, and you open the package and like, it could be a little bit off-putting, but really, you rinse them and you're golden. That odd odor just goes away.
Interesting. So just to be very clear, there's nothing alcoholic about them. It's just a fermentation.
No, yeah.
And as part of the process. Okay, good.
Looks like they're sold on Amazon too.
Of course,
yeah.
I just looked it up.
Only the Apple TV is not sold on Amazon.
That's right.
Well, for my fourth round pick, I'm going to go a much different direction and suggest a small piece of software that the more I play with it, the more I'm intrigued. And it's called Better Touch Tool. This will let you assign various swipes and taps and motions to your Magic Trackpad or your iPad, MacBook trackpad. Doesn't have to be one of the new Magic Trackpad 2s. It could be pretty much any trackpad. But it's surprising how much you can do with this. Apple provides some swipes and some capabilities that we're probably all familiar with. But this one reminded me a little bit, the more I get into it, of watching Star Trek The Next Generation. The bridge crew manipulate things, with fingers. With fingers. Now, I realize that's science fiction, but yeah, you can do two things like 2-finger drags, 3-finger drags, 2-finger and tap. The permutations are almost unlimited. And you can trigger keyboard shortcuts with it. You can trigger commands with it. You can trigger pretty much anything that you can put into a script or play with on this. So this is just a really nice piece of software. Seems to be compatible with everything. I keep trying to figure out things that I want to do things and then have to learn the hand motions. But the ones that I've done, if I just take one at a time and sort of integrate it into my working, I'm finding it really, really nice. And all my MacBooks obviously are equipped with the trackpad. All my Macs are equipped with the trackpad. I'm not a mouse person. So this just means that I can go from one to the other doing what I want with taps and swipes. As opposed to a lot of other things. So if at the very least it's fun to play with, but I think it also is going to be a big productivity enhancer, especially for doing some of the video editing where I've got repetitious steps to go through and a lot of just limited set but frequently used commands. So I'm really enjoying that. So Better Touch Tool. I know anybody had experience with Better Touch Tool? Joe?
Yeah.
And it also, if you happen to have one of these leap motion devices, to like just do gestures in the air. It works with this too. So, I can use Better Touch Tool to assign, turn up the volume, or I won't show you the gesture I use for force quit, but I have one. And
I think we can
stuff
guess.
like that.
Yeah, I think we can probably guess at that gesture,
Yeah.
Joe. Great. Guys, it never fails to surprise me, the things that you all come up with. Some are obviously spot on for Mac users and Apple users, and some are just right out of left field, and those are probably the most fun. So, and the pricing as well is all over the map. So good job. So let's go around the room one more time and make sure folks know where they can find you when you're not serving on the Mac Jury. David, I'll let you go first. Where do we find you?
Well, the Suburban Chicago Mac User Group is the website is right now it's at nwou.org. That's our group and how we participate. And if you want to reach me by email, my email is daveg65@gmail.com. And that's generally where you'll be able to find me and anything relates to Mac.
Great. It's good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Mr. Kissell?
You can usually find me in San Diego. If you aren't in San Diego and you want to find me online, you can go to joeontech.net. You have to do it that way. And a lot of my books are at takecontrolbooks.com. And as long as you spell my name correctly and you know how to use a search engine, anyone should be able to figure out how to contact me.
And if you don't, you're listening to the wrong show.
Yes.
That's right.
And that was only one typo, Joe. I don't know how that happened.
Just saying, if a person wanted to contact me and they knew how to spell my name, that would be beneficial.
Wow.
Ouch.
Peter, help me out. Where can we find you?
In the bushes outside your house, Chuck. I told you before.
I'll be right back.
You can find me online. If you get on Twitter, I'm at Flarg, Flargh. You can also visit my website at peter-cohen.com. And just like Joe, if you spell my name correctly, it's Cohen. You can find me using Google and most other reasonably competent search engines.
Great. It's good to have you. Thanks for being here.
Thank you very much for having me.
Folks, you can find me on Twitter as @ChuckJoyner and on the road, but if you're in front of me, I will be capturing you on the Garmin webcam, Dashcam. So, hey, we'll be back with more holiday gift shows coming up, along with the great MacVoices coverage we try to do. And we hope you and yours have a terrific first part of the holidays. Until the next time, thanks for watching. Visit MacVoices.com for links, show notes, to subscribe, to connect with Chuck on Twitter, Google+, YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, and the MacVoices blog. Subscribe to our weekly newsletter, the MacVoices Dispatch, to stay up to date on all the latest MacVoices news from our front page or at MacVoices.com/newsletter. Do more with your Apple tech by subscribing to the free MacVoices magazine on Flipboard by visiting MacVoices.com/magazine. Advertising and sponsorships handled by Backbeat Media at BackbeatMedia.com. Bandwidth provided by CashFly at CashFly.com.